Was it difficult sitting there for 60 minutes straight? Absolutely. So I needed to tell myself that if it were easy, everyone would do it. And if everyone would do it, then it probably means it's not even worth doing. I meditated 60 minutes a day for 60 days, and here's how it helped my productivity. Here's how and why it significantly reduced my anxiety, and how it just made me a happier person in general. Before I get into it though, I just want to state that I'm aware that there are a million different ways that you can choose to meditate, right? I just simply chose the way that I could envision myself doing this for the long term. So this meant using no phone apps, no special sounds or special postures or breathing techniques. I just simply closed my eyes for 60 minutes straight. Whatever happened, happened. I just allowed my mind to do its thing. If you wanted to think about work, food, the girl I like, so be it. I just sat there in third person POV and contemplated. Anyways, benefit number one, productivity. Now, how do you have the audacity to claim that sitting there for 60 minutes doing nothing is actually giving you the best return on your time? How can you actually tell me that you have all of this work to do that requires attention, and sitting there is conducive towards being productive? That's how I used to think. Well, what I found was that what I previously perceived as nothing wasn't actually nothing. All this time to think was a superpower. See, during these 60 minutes, my mind went through all of the events that surfaced, sort of like a computer processing internet tabs that were apparently left open. Should I take profits on that crypto coin? And how did that jujitsu lock go? I think I needed to put my arm around here and then lock him there and then grab him. Oh, and by the way, what will my calories look like for this upcoming bulk? And by the way, I'm not choosing things to think about. I'm not deliberately sitting there and thinking to myself, okay, let me think about this. No, my mind is choosing for me. So if it's important, it'll just come. And there are two things that are happening here. Number one, I'm learning, because I don't know about you, but I'm slow. So this time served as the necessary downtime that I needed to internalize information. Like crypto, for example. You expect me to understand what a blockchain means through a 7-minute YouTube video? I mean, it required hours and hours and hours of me processing what a ledger is, and how when I send a transaction to someone through Bitcoin, it alerts the network, and these people are incentivized to validate my transaction. And once they reach a consensus, it gets posted on the blockchain for everyone to see, and it's public and whatever, but it takes a lot of time. Similarly in jiu-jitsu, it's like this guy is expecting me to learn a new arm lock just by showing it 3 or 4 times in class. If people are nodding their heads like, yeah, I got it. No, I mean, I didn't get it. I need more time. I need to replay it and replay it and replay it until it becomes crystallized in my mind. And so this meditation served as that time for me to actually understand the things that were being presented to me. And the second thing that was going on that ties more into the productivity of it all is the fact that I was equipping myself with the answers that I needed for tomorrow. So when I opened the work email that I had been previously struggling with, knowing how to address the situation, I already knew what I was going to type. I already knew what I was going to sell my crypto. I already knew what the calories for my upcoming bulk was. I already knew everything in advance. And this ties into benefit number 2, which is how much meditation has significantly reduced my anxiety. The definition of anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically due to an uncertain outcome. In other words, I feel afraid, I feel all panicky and shit because I don't have control over things. I don't know how things will turn out, so I feel anxious. And the exact opposite of this is knowing, right? It's understanding, it's clarity. Think of how it felt when you're finally able to understand something, when you obtained that answer, when you got that closure, that certainty that you needed. Well, naturally, all this time to think that meditation gave me made me less anxious, because I was making uncertain things more certain one by one. And by like day 20, my mind wasn't only processing recent events, right? By this time, he actually grew quieter. So I was able to start to notice these things from my past that for some reason kept on coming up. And it was here that I realized that these weren't just random memories. There was a reason that they kept on resurfacing. They were just buried inside, and I was just too distracted before. I didn't have the time to be able to make the connections of what they meant. I never realized that I think and dream so much about soccer and my high school coach because I never admitted the fact that it hurt like hell when I got cut from the team. I never realized how much my aunt meant to me, the fact that she was like a second mom to me throughout all those years. I realized that this overwhelming desire to make money stems from growing up in a privileged society where I never felt like I truly belonged. And so what do you think was the result of this intense personal examination that was taking place? 100% clarity, understanding, not only about things about yesterday or today or what I'm going to do tomorrow, but about the big questions in life. who I was and where I came from and what I wanted in the future and why. Think back to the definition of anxiety and now imagine what all this certainty that I was establishing in my world was doing to it. Now my last point, happiness. After like day 40 hours, 2,400 minutes, 144,000 seconds of meditation, where do you think my mind wandered this time? Nowhere. I was finally able to just be present. Obviously, the first 5 minutes of a session, we're thinking of the things that happened that day, but during the rest of the session, it's like the internet tabs were all closed. There was simply nothing left to process. My mind had nothing else to think about but the present. And so I started noticing these good physical sensations throughout my body that honestly I have a hard time believing the fact that they were there and that before I was just too distracted to notice them. And I know this may sound cliche or whatever, but I legitimately developed a newfound appreciation for simple things like nature and bird sounds and shit. I mean, I started to derive pleasure from just walking and watching things. And I feel like this makes sense, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I was training my mind to be okay with just sitting there for 60 minutes straight, which was boring as hell sometimes. So anything would be better or funner than that, right? Like suddenly like skipping a rock would produce so much joy, you know? So it's kind of like I resetted my baseline level of happiness to a point where everything is just great. And so my takeaway from all of this, it's not that I'm going to become a Buddha, right? I'm not going to keep on meditating 60 minutes a day. That's not sustainable. But I definitely witnessed the value that meditation offers. And just like the physical body needs to be trained to be fit, the mind needs to be allowed time to run on its own for it to be fit as well. Even if it's like 5 minutes a day, the benefits of achieving that mental fitness and maintaining it is well worth it. And that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I sincerely hope that this provided some type of value. And if you made it especially this far in the video, I honestly cannot express my most sincere gratitude for your time and attention. Again, I really hope that this video served you. And if it did, I would really appreciate a like and maybe if you shared with a friend. But besides that, I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Peace!